I'm Luke Hatfield, alongside me, Gio Edwards, a man in the know. Here at the Express and Star regarding Wolves. You've been down to the training ground ahead of a game against a team we all know and love in FC Pyunik. Apologies if I've pronounced that wrong. Joe, what's the mood like?
It's actually surprisingly good. Well, I say surprisingly good. I mean, you're looking at it, it's a 4,600 mile round trip for Wolves to Armenia to face FC Pyunik or you know, let's see how it's pronounced, but whatever.
Some Armenian side.
Yeah, some Armenian side. But yeah, they've got to do that journey ahead of facing Leicester to kick off the Premier League season on Sunday. It's not exactly ideal, but as Nuno says, it's the reality, and they've got to face it, and they've got to embrace the challenge, really. And there's good news for Wolves in that, you know, they've got some good players coming back. Well, a very good player coming back in Matt Doherty.
Yes.
He's going to be making the trip, making the flights, probably pretty much as we speak. I think they were flying out at 2:30 this afternoon. So,
I don't envy them on that flight.
Well, the thing is with the club, they're actually flying direct.
Old charter flight.
So, you know, it's all right for Wolves, less so for Tim and Nathan. Tim Spears and Nathan Judah, of course, our colleagues will be making the trip. I think it's 2 red-eye flights in some connecting flights.
Via Turkey or
someplace.
Via
Turkey or Tbilisi or somewhere. So, yeah, it's not... you know, if there's one to miss, I guess it's this one. But but yeah, they're in a good mood, and they've got Matt Doherty back. They've got the 2 new signings in Patrick Cutrone, Jesus Vallejo. They're going. They're on the plane. Pedro Neto, and Bruno Jordão.
Yes.
It's a bit confusing, but those 2 aren't going. They're not on the plane. Nuno says they've got to become kind of fully integrated with everything first before they make the trip, so they'll be staying at home and doing a bit of work by themselves. It was in the balance this afternoon as to whether Morgan Gibbs-White was going as well. Rated as 50-50, picked up a knock against Crusaders last week. Raul Jimenez, though, who picked up a knock in that game, is fine, so he's going. So that's the kind of team news going into it.
Yeah, and you know, it's, as you said, not ideal. You know, what's not ideal either is the fact that it takes place on transfer deadline day. That's one which you probably would have looked to avoid, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're in the Europa League, and you know, you just got to put up with it. In terms of transfer deadline day, can we expect much from Wolves?
It's going to be more so outgoings, I think. I think there's always the possibility that they will bring someone in if, you know, it becomes right for all parties, but at the moment things are looking pretty quiet. You're looking at the players like Leo Bonatini, Roderick Miranda, your Harry Begoins, and your Brighton and Bakaris and people like that. These are players that are going to look to get out on loan, if possible. I mean, they're not exactly bound by tomorrow. I mean, if they want to loan these players to League 1 and 2 clubs, they can still do that. But if they want to get them overseas and things like that, or to Championship clubs, they've got to do it, you know, by 5 o'clock tomorrow. So it's potentially more so that way. I think there's been a lot of suggestions about Mario Lemina. We don't think that's going to happen at the moment. Things could change, of course, but what we're being told at the moment is that's not happening. Of course, Ruben Diaz, that's one that's, you know, that's not going to happen either.
Called it off now.
They've called it off. So, but you're looking at the team, and you know, Jordão coming in, Neto coming in. Yes, we don't know a lot about them, but they have padded out the squad. They have bulked it out, which is what it needed. And they are players that kind of fit the mould. That they've got a good, decent bit of pedigree. That the young players as well that can develop. Of course, Wolves made another signing yesterday, Renat Dadashov.
Really well-known player.
The Azerbaijan striker. It's a good job he's not making this trip for the Europa game, by the way, because Azerbaijan and Armenia do not get along.
Oh, right, okay.
Because remember, Mkhitaryan couldn't play in Azerbaijan for the Europa League final last season because he's Armenian. So it's a good job that the Wolves have actually sent him back out on loan. But it'd be interesting to see how these next 24 hours or so shake up. But as it stands, we're not expecting it to be all that busy in terms of incomings. Maybe just a few kind of players on the fringes making loan moves.
Yeah, and then lastly, Joe, of course, first leg of a two-legged qualifier. If they get through this one, obviously it's going to be slightly tougher by the sounds of it. You probably bet on them facing Torino at the moment. But the big thing now for Nuno, I think, would be go to Armenia, get a decent result, because then next week you can maybe rest a couple of players.
Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? I mean, because obviously, you've got Leicester coming up on Sunday, and there's no suggestion that they're kind of resting any of the big guns for this one. I think the kind of the onus is on, as you say, getting that comfortable cushion in that first leg, doing all the hard work away from home, getting a couple of away goals under your belt as well, and then maybe taking the foot off the gas a little bit more in that return leg. Of course, I mean, after that return leg, you've got Man United on the Monday night as well, so it's not exactly a low calibre opponent afterwards. So I think if Nuno could rest a few next week, I think he will. But you're looking at the team going into this game. Obviously, Cutrone and Vallejo are available. I'd be slightly surprised to see him start, although they definitely could. I'm just kind of leaning towards that he might just go with the tried and trusted, at least for the first hour or so. Try and get that cushion, as we say, and then on the hour mark, then you can bring Jimenez off, bring Cutrone on, and maybe take a Ryan Bennett off or a Bolly and bring on Vallejo and maybe a Sage just to shore things up in midfield. So there's plenty of options for Nuno, and Doherty, does he want to give him 10 minutes to so as well, which is another option for Wolves. So they're looking good going into this. Pyunik, they finished second in the Armenian Premier League last season. They've got a few foreign players, mainly Armenian-based players. They're from the capital city of Armenia. A bit of a lesson for you into Pyunik. They play at the national stadium, Yerevan.
I was going to test you on that.
Yerevan, the capital. So I think it's 14,000 seater stadium. So I think they'll be trying to drum up a decent atmosphere. I mean, it's going to be a tougher test than Crusaders, I think it's fair to say. And Nuno will be looking to have a sharper start in this game because, of course, they went behind against Crusaders last week. You suspect him to do so again this week. It'll be a bit tougher to come back from. Of course, Wolves are the massive favourites, and they should win, pretty easily. But you'll look to avoid any early hiccups and make sure it's smooth sailing as much as possible.
Yeah, so testing times for Wolves. It seems there's a lot of games coming up. Got to sort all of them out. For the latest on them, make sure you stay with us, expressionstar.com.